Good morning. Welcome to Pope's Plates. If you're returning, welcome back. We really do appreciate having you join us every time we cook. Today we're making a roasted red pepper and Gouda soup, which is great because it is cold here today and dreary looking outside. The first thing I'm going to do is to drain the peppers. They need to have a lot of this liquid taken off before we can put them in the pan to start cooking. So I'm just gonna pour them into the bowl here to get the liquid out. Just shake it a little bit. This is about 24 ounces, 25 ounces of red peppers by the time we finish all the liquid draining out of them. We're going to start with cutting some onion and garlic. That's going to be the beginning base. Goodness, this onion doesn't want to give up for our soup. Now I'm going to have to get the garbage out of the way here. I came to love this soup. I moved into an independent living community a number of years ago. And it ended up not quite being the right place for me. But the chef at that independent living facility made this soup. And I ate it and thought, wow, I love this. He was not prepared to share the recipe, and I sort of understood that. But I found this recipe online and have made it several times myself. There are a couple of ways to do the Gouda part of it. The recipe that we have posted up the website is says to put the Gouda on top of the soup after it is cooked, so that it sort of melts onto the hot soup. This chef actually made the soup by putting the Gouda in the soup itself. And I'm not quite sure. When I tried that the first time I made it, and it didn't work out quite as well as I had hoped. The Gouda did not melt very well. So I'm thinking this time we're just going to put it on top rather than putting it in the soup. This is a very potent onion. If any of you have got great tips on how to keep your eyes from tearing up when you're cutting onion, please share it in the box below. I'll be glad to take any advice you can give me on that. Next thing we're doing is getting our garlic cut. And I think I've introduced this to the site once before. These are handy little gizmos that help you get the skin off of the garlic. You put your garlic in it and you roll it around. That gets the skin off so that you don't have to peel it a little bit at a time, which is kind of hard to do. So this calls for 3 to 4 cloves of garlic. We're big garlic lovers in our family, so I'm putting 4 in. And I got an interesting new tool at Christmas. So we're going to try it and see how well it works. Oh, this piece of garlic has a little bit of a bad spot. Ooh, a bigger bad spot. Yeah, got rid of that. I'm going to try this tool and see how well it does. I had a garlic press that I didn't like, so we've got this one. Oh, let's see. Rock it back and forth. Works. Let's see if I do the next one. Boy, this takes a lot of strength to do this.
You want me to step in to do what I can?
Let's try that another way. Interesting. I just think the problem is that garlic doesn't want to cooperate with me. But that's all right. We're gonna keep working on this and get a little bit more because we definitely want that good flavor of garlic in our soup. One more clove to go. Let's see, I don't know if you can see this or not. This is what it looks like all smushed up. But I've got a good wad of garlic here. So I think I'm okay. And I will see if I can get any more out here. A little bit more, that's it. Rest of it, go away. All right, now we're gonna have to go to the stove. We're gonna put a couple of tablespoons of olive oil in our soup pan, begin cooking the onions. And remember, you don't add the garlic right away because the garlic can burn really easily and gets really bitter. So we're gonna cook the onions 5 minutes or so until they're translucent. Step number 2 is getting the onions into the pan. I've heated up 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I can hear the onions beginning to crackle here. We're also, at this point, gonna add a little bit of salt. Recipe calls for a couple of teaspoons of salt. We added just a little bit this time, just to get the sweating of the onions started well. This will take, again, a good 5 minutes of cooking on a medium-high heat to get the onions to the point that we would like for them to be before we add the garlic. Oh, it looks as if we might have missed the footage on putting the peppers in the pot and adding the spices. So Jennifer's going to show you the close-ups of that since we didn't get the original on video. The garlic in at this point, and smell the fragrance of the garlic. That's a full box. Cracked black pepper. We're going to add paprika. The liquid is now in a different bowl here. While we're waiting on the soup to get cooked, I'm going to go ahead and open the package of Gouda cheese and grate it. This has been in the refrigerator, so it's pretty hard. Gouda is pretty hard cheese anyway, but I think I need to get the skin off. So I'm going to cut around here. I don't know whether you can see this very well or not, but there is skin on the side of the cheese, and we don't need to have that in our soup. So we're going to cut it away, being very careful so that you don't end up taking part of your fingers while you're cutting. Yeah, this is not easy to get all off here, but aha, almost all. All right, trash out of the way here. I'm grating the Gouda. I'm actually going to use the larger size of the grater. If you have a box grater, frankly, that's a little bit easier to use. It's a little bit more steady. I don't have a box grater. I just have this simple one here. And you've got, Charlie, honey, you don't like Gouda cheese, I don't think. All right, while the soup is finishing, I'm going to do the rest of this cheese. I don't know that we'll need all of it, actually, to tell you the truth, to put on the soup, but I can always put the shredded cheese back in the refrigerator if I need to. See if I can get this without taking my fingers off. That's a pretty big chunk of cheese there. Okay, I think that's good. I'm going to set that aside. We're going to get the soup from the stove. I'm going to put it on a hot plate here and use a ladle to put a little bit at a time into the blender because this is really hot soup. And if you put too much soup in there and start blending it up, you're likely to have soup all over your whole house. So give me a second and I'll get this put together. This looks good. I don't know whether you can get a picture of this. Jennifer, take a picture. Looks good. All righty, let's get the top off of the blender. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of this in here. There's still a lot of liquid, and we had drained all of the liquid from the peppers. This is the, whoo, yep, hot. I made a mess. Well, that's not unusual. I usually make a mess. That's steam. Gonna add a little bit more. You know, a smart thing to do, to be very honest with you, would probably be to let this soup cool pretty significantly before you start blending it up.
Allow us to pause while we wait just a few minutes to let the soup cool.
And I'm gonna try putting a towel over this. All right, I think it's cooled off a bit. We're gonna try it again. Oh. Okay, that's pretty pureed. I'm gonna actually add in a little of the soup that we put in the blender before, because it does need to be pureed before we add the cream and the lemon juice. That looks really nice. So put a little bit more in. This too has had an opportunity to cool off. You can see the flecks of pepper in this. Now, the black pepper that we added, as well as the char that was on the red pepper. That really makes the soup pretty. Okay, I think we've got one more little bit that we need to get blended up, so I'm going to put this back in its original pot. Ah, yeah, that's a good consistency. That really looks nice. And we'll put the rest of this in the blender. I think the consistency of this is going to be beautiful. And when we get the heavy cream added to it and lemon juice that brightens the flavor just a little bit, this is going to be very good. All right, done. The consistency of this is just beautiful, just thick enough. You can see that it still is just lusciously thick. So what we're going to do is add half a cup of heavy cream. I'm going to have to get that heavy cream out of the refrigerator. So excuse me for 1 second while I step off camera and get the cream. All right, to our soup, we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And this is a pretty fat, good-sized lemon. Don't want to get any seeds in here. So I'm kind of being careful about that. Oh, you know, we're going to get 2 full tablespoons of lemon juice out of this 1/2 of a lemon. That's lovely. And we're going to add a 1/2 cup of heavy cream to the soup. And I bet that this is going to make it a beautiful shade of pink. Yeah, I'm not sure everybody loves pink food, but boy, this looks good to me. This really looks beautiful, and I'm sure it's going to taste as good as it looks. We're going to let this heat up a little bit before we serve it into the soup bowl and top it with the cheese and maybe just a touch of basil. All right, let's sprinkle a little bit of the Gouda on top here, on top of the croutons. That certainly makes a beautiful dish. If you make the soup and you enjoy it, please let us know in the comments below. I invite you to like and subscribe to our channel. This is a great soup day, so enjoy. Until we see you again, let's keep cooking.